Welcome to African Tales HQ. In a quiet village called Wakoma, there lived a family that everyone admired. Ima and Ada were the proud parents of twins, Chidinma and Chijioke. Ima was strong, gentle, and wise, known for his deep voice that always seemed to calm the storms in people's hearts. Ada, on the other hand, was known for her warm smile and kind heart. Her laughter was like music, and the village loved her dearly. Life for this family seemed perfect. Every morning, the twins would play outside, their giggles filling the air as they ran around, chasing butterflies and climbing trees. At night, Ima would tell them stories by the fire, and Ada would tuck them into bed with songs of peace and love. But one fateful day, everything changed. Ima fell very ill. His strong body, which had once carried the twins on his shoulders with ease, became weak and frail. Ada was desperate to save him. She tried everything. Doctors came from far and near. Prayers were offered by elders and pastors visited their home to offer comfort. But nothing worked. Ima grew weaker by the day. One cold, moonless night, as Ada held his hand and whispered her love to him, Ima passed away, taking the light from Ada's heart with him. After the funeral, the Ada everyone knew vanished. Her warmth was replaced by coldness, and her once gentle hands became harsh. She looked at her children, Chidinma and Chijioke, with anger in her eyes. How could she raise them alone? Why had God let this happen to her? She felt abandoned by life itself and couldn't bear to see the twins, who reminded her so much of their father. Chidinma had Ima's kind eyes, while Chijioke had inherited his deep voice. But to Ada, these were not blessings, they were painful reminders of what she had lost. The twins were confused. They didn't understand why their mother was so angry with them. They missed their father dearly, but they didn't know why their mother seemed to blame them for everything. They found comfort in each other and in nature. The forest behind their house became their sanctuary. They dreamed of exploring the mountains one day, of seeing the world beyond their village. But Ada kept them inside, telling them they were too young, too weak, and that the world outside would hurt them. In truth, she was trying to keep them close out of fear of losing them the way she had lost Ima. On the twins' 13th birthday, something unexpected happened. Ada came to them with a strange smile on her face, a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "Today, we are going on an adventure," she said, her voice filled with fake cheer. The twins were thrilled. It had been so long since their mother had taken them anywhere. They didn't notice the strange way she spoke or the sadness hidden behind her eyes. They set off into the woods, the trees tall and whispering above them. The air was cool, and the birds sang cheerful songs. The twins ran ahead, laughing and playing, while Ada trailed behind, lost in her own thoughts. As they ventured deeper into the forest, the trees began to close in, and the sunlight faded. Chidinma and Chijioke slowed down, looking back to check on their mother, but when they turned, she was gone. At first, they thought it was a game. They called out to her, expecting her to jump out from behind the tree, but only silence answered. The twins waited and waited, but their mother never returned. As night fell, fear crept into their hearts. The forest that had once felt like their friend now seemed dark and full of shadows. They huddled together under a large tree, cold and frightened. Back at the house, Ada sat by the fire, staring into the flames. She convinced herself that she had done the right thing. The twins were better off without her. They reminded her too much of Emma, and it was too painful to look at them every day. She convinced herself that by leaving them in the woods, she was setting herself free from the weight of her grief. Days passed and the village began to worry. The twins had not been seen, and whispers spread like wildfire. Search parties were sent into the forest, but they found no trace of Chidinma and Chijioke. The villagers grew suspicious of Ada, but she remained silent, her heart heavy with guilt. Each night, as she lay in her empty bed, the silence became unbearable. Weeks passed, and Ada could no longer bear the weight of her own conscience. One evening, as the sun set behind the mountains, she found herself walking towards the woods. Her steps were slow, and her heart raced with fear. As she ventured deeper into the forest, memories of her children's laughter filled her mind. She could almost hear their voices calling her name. Then she saw them. Chidinma and Chijioke stood before her, faint and pale, their clothes tattered from weeks of wandering the woods. Their eyes were filled with hurt, but they were alive. Chidinma's voice broke the silence. Mama, why did you leave us? She asked, her voice trembling with pain. Ada's heart shattered into a million pieces. I was lost, she sobbed. I thought you were a burden. I was wrong. I love you both so much. But the twins didn't move. Chijioke's voice was quiet, almost a whisper. You didn't love us. You abandoned us. Ada sank to her knees, tears streaming down her face. Please come home with me. I'll do anything to make it right, she begged. The twins exchanged a glance, their bond unspoken yet strong. They had survived together. Without her, we can't go back, Mama, Chidinma said softly. Not after what you did. With that, they turned and walked deeper into the woods, hand in hand. Ada tried to stand and follow, but her legs gave way and she collapsed onto the forest floor, watching as her children disappeared into the shadows. Ada's cries echoed through the trees, but there was no answer. The children she had forsaken were gone, and she was truly alone. The villagers eventually found her lying on the cold ground, broken and hollow. They brought her back to Wakoma, but the village that had once loved her now turned their backs. Whispers of betrayal followed her everywhere she went. For months, Ada lived in silence, haunted by her choices. She started volunteering at the village school, telling stories of adventure and hope to the children who came to listen. Each time she spoke, she thought of Chidinma and Chijioke. She remembered their laughter, their joy, and the way they had looked at her with love before everything had changed. After the twins, Chidinma and Chijioke left their mother, Ada, behind in the forest. They wandered deeper into the woods, unsure where to go or what to do. The nights were cold and their hearts ached with the pain of abandonment. But fate had other plans for them. Just as they began to lose hope, a kind family from a neighboring village who had been out gathering herbs stumbled upon the twins. The family, Eze, his wife, Nneka, and their daughter, Ifunanya, immediately saw the fear and hunger in the children's eyes. Without hesitation, they took Chidinma and Chijioke home, offering them shelter, food, and most importantly, love. The twins grew up in this new family, spending the next 10 years in the warmth of their home. Eze was a farmer and Chijioke learned the ways of the land, becoming skilled at planting crops and caring for animals. Nneka, a gentle woman who ran a small shop, treated Chidinma as if she were her own daughter, teaching her how to cook, sew, and manage the household. Ifunanya became like a sister to the twins, and together they formed a bond of friendship that healed the scars left by their mother's abandonment. Though the twins had found peace and happiness in this new family, their past was never truly forgotten. Ada's absence lingered in their hearts like a wound that never quite healed. But they had grown, and time, as it often does, brought wisdom. Through their new family, they had learned the power of forgiveness and the importance of love, even in the face of great hurt. The years passed, and Chidinma blossomed into a beautiful young woman. Her heart was kind, and she had inherited her father Ima's quiet strength. One day, a young man named Obina, from a respected family in the neighboring village, asked for her hand in marriage. The entire village celebrated, for it was to be a joyous union between two well-loved families. But as the wedding preparations began, something weighed heavily on Chidinma's mind. As she sat with Chijioke one evening under the moonlight, she sighed deeply. "I don't think I can go through with the wedding, Chijioke," she confessed. Chijioke looked at her, surprised. "Why not? Obina is a good man. You deserve happiness." "It's not about him," she said. Her voice softened. "It's about Mama. I've forgiven her in my heart, but I can't carry on with such an important part of my life without her. It doesn't feel right. I want her to be there on my wedding day to give her blessing." Chijioke nodded slowly. He had felt the same way, though he had been too afraid to admit it. Their mother's betrayal had cut deep, but they had both matured over the years, and their hearts had softened. "You are right," he agreed. "We need to find her. It's time." And so, with the support of their adoptive family, Chidinma and Chijioke set out on a journey to find their mother. They didn't know where she was or even if she was still alive, but they knew they had to try. The path to forgiveness had been long, but they felt ready to face whatever awaited them. After many days of searching, they finally heard news of their mother. The village of Wakoma had changed since they left, but some old neighbors still remembered Ada. The twins learned that after they had disappeared, Ada had fallen into deep sorrow. She had grown old and frail, her once vibrant energy dimmed by regret and loss. In her search for purpose, Ada had begun volunteering at the village school, teaching young children. It reminded her of Chidinma and Chijioke, and each day she poured her heart into those lessons, hoping in some way to make amends for her past. The twins made their way to the village school, their hearts pounding with a mix of anticipation and fear. What would they say to her? Would she even recognize them after all these years? As they arrived at the school, they saw their mother from a distance. She was leading a nature walk with a group of children, her steps slow and deliberate, her hair now silver with age. Chidinma and Chijioke stood still for a moment, taking in the sight of their mother, so different from the woman they had known. Ada's face was lined with wrinkles, her shoulders slightly hunched, but there was a softness in her eyes as she spoke to the children, the same softness that they remembered from their early years. Before grief had changed her, the children scampered ahead, laughing and playing, while Ada paused to rest under a large tree. She didn't notice the two figures approaching her, not until Chijioke called out softly, "Mama." Ada froze. her breath catching in her throat. That voice, it couldn't be. Slowly, she turned, her eyes wide with disbelief. There, standing before her were her children, Chidima and Chijuke, no longer the frightened little ones she had abandoned, but grown strong and full of life. Tears welled up in Ada's eyes as she stumbled forward, her hands trembling. Chidima, Chijuke, is it really you? She whispered, her voice barely audible. The twins nodded. It's us, Mama, Chidima said softly. We've come back. Ada fell to her knees before them, her body shaking with sobs. I am so sorry, she cried. I have missed you every day. I thought I lost you forever. I have been trying to be better, but I know I can never undo the hurt I caused. Can you ever forgive me? Chijuke knelt beside her, placing a gentle hand on her shoulder. Mama, we've forgiven you a long time ago. We've grown and we understand now. You were hurting and we know you didn't mean to hurt us, but we need you. We can't go on without you in our lives. Chidima took her mother's hand. I'm getting married, Mama. I want you there with me. We want you to be part of our lives again. Ada looked up at her daughter, her heart full of love and regret. You deserve your kindness, she whispered. But if you have me, I'll never leave your side again. With that, the three of them embraced, their tears mixing with laughter as the weight of the past began to lift. The years of separation and pain faded away, replaced by a deep understanding and forgiveness. They knew it would take time to rebuild their bond, but they were ready to begin. The village of Wakoma watched in awe as the family once broken began to heal. The laughter that had once filled their home returned, and the love that had been lost was rekindled. On Chidima's wedding day, as she walked down the aisle with her mother by her side, the village knew they were witnessing something special. A family who had learned that forgiveness was not just about letting go of the past, but about choosing love time and time again.
Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, kindly let me know what you think in the comments. Support me with a